So guys, I got asked by one of you on my Instagram that if Manny Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman, what's going to be next for him? Now, I don't like looking ahead of any big fights because the Manny Pacquiao-Keith Thurman fight is a massive fight and a fight that, you know, Manny Pacquiao is not guaranteed to win. It's against a hungry young lion that's coming to really put it on him and looking to beat him, because Keith Thurman knows what a win over Manny Pacquiao would do for his career and his legacy. You know, he's talking about, you know, beating Pacquiao so he can go on to bigger and better things. However, as I've got a channel, obviously we do speculate and we do things where, you know, if this person was to win, what's going to be the next fight? If Manny Pacquiao is to win, because that's what you wanted to know, if Manny Pacquiao is to win against Keith Thurman, what is next for him? I believe he'll fight Errol Spence. I believe that'll be the next fight. I believe it's the easier fight to make. I don't feel he'll fight Crawford. I think the Crawford fight is too difficult to make. It's, you know, two different promoters that don't really work to, you know, advisor Al Heyman don't really work with Bob Arum. So I can't really see that fight materializing. I think that's going to take a lot for that fight to materialize. And unfortunately, I just don't think that fight's going to materialize. I do think Spence a bigger name. I think Spence will mean a bigger payday for Pacquiao, and also the fight's easier to make. And also Pacquiao might fancy himself against Spence a lot more than Crawford. I think he may feel that Spence is a bit one-dimensional, where he's bigger and stronger, loses to look, uses size. However, he did show against Mikey Garcia that he's also a very good boxer. I still don't think he's as good a boxer as Terence Crawford. But either fight for Manny Pacquiao at this stage in his career is a difficult fight. But I do think, if you're asking me who do I think Manny Pacquiao will fight next if he beats Keith Thurman, I do think a fight with Errol Spence will be made. I think Al Heyman will look to make that fight in order to make Errol Spence a star. I've already mentioned this before, that by Manny Pacquiao beating Keith Thurman and Errol Spence beating Sean Porter, that would also be for the, you know, three of the four belts. So you'll be looking at, you know, the winner of that fight holding 3 belts. So that's going to be a massive fight. That's going to be a huge unification fight between Spence and Pacquiao if they can make that. So I do think that fight makes a lot of sense and a lot of money, and it's going to be a huge fight, especially if Pacquiao can get the win against Thurman. So I do think, guys, I do think that, you know, Pacquiao will fight Spence next. I do fully expect Pacquiao to take on that challenge as well. A lot of people have said, will Pacquiao look to fight Spence? I don't think the fight right now made sense. I don't think the fight, I think the Thurman fight made sense for him, because Pacquiao's trying to feel the waters. He doesn't want to jump straight to the top boy right away. I think he's thinking, let me first take a dip in the water, fight someone like Thurman, see what I've got left against that kind of level of opposition. If he does well against Thurman, beats Thurman, then he knows he's ready to go in there with Errol Spence, rather than jumping with Errol Spence. You know, his last 2 fights were Lucas Matisse and Adrian Broner. I think with all due respect to those 2 fighters, they're nowhere near on the level of Errol Spence. So I think Manny Pacquiao knows he hasn't been operating on an Errol Spence level yet. So Keith Thurman is obviously a significant step up from Broner and Matisse. A win against Keith Thurman in good fashion clearly will put Manny Pacquiao in a great position to fight Errol Spence, and where he'll think that he's probably ready to jump in with Spence, because like I said, I don't think he's faced anybody on Spence's level of, you know, in the recent time. So I think Pacquiao knows that, you know, at the age of 40, he's got to be careful and choose his fights wisely. However, I do think a good win over Thurman would definitely build Pacquiao's confidence, and I think Pacquiao will think, you know what, I'll fight Errol Spence. But I just think right now the fight didn't make sense, and that's why I think Pacquiao chose Thurman fight. I think the fight makes sense for both of those guys right now. So that's my take on it. Leave your thoughts, guys. What do you think? Do you think if Pacquiao beats Thurman that the next fight will be Spence? I think so. Leave your thoughts. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.